question. I've seen emails recently about your interest in the charter schools, the Fatula Gulen, and how there's abuse of the whole system. Are you still pursuing that?
Absolutely. Not only have we gotten an Attorney General's opinion that was supporting our position, we had the TEA and the Texas Rangers that were going to investigate it. Unfortunately, today I got a letter from the TEA who says we're not going to continue our investigation. Now, why are we looking at Gulen schools and the Harmony? Very simple. They've got people over here from Turkey that they have no certification for teaching. And in one case that we found out, David, the guy was a carpenter, and he came over here to teach American history. That kind of concerned me a little bit.
We don't have qualified teachers here. They have to do that.
Well, and most of them come here on a visa that is not really what their stated purpose was. So I'm very concerned about it, because this guy Gulen, I don't know if y'all know that name or not, but I just, from a military standpoint, I just came back from Turkey, and when I mention his name, I want to tell you, in fact, he's wanted over there, and we haven't extradited him. We should. He's the guy that a lot of people believe was behind the big coup that came over in Turkey. And I could go a long time about what happened to me in Turkey. Lost 2 hotels. One of them was blown up just as I left that day. But the big deal is that is an issue that, yes, we're going to push and continue to push it, because we put thousands, millions of dollars into those charter schools. And that's not good, because it's taxpayers' money. Yeah, no. That's I don't care what the TEA says.
Yeah.
We're working with the Texas Rangers, and we do have a pretty good opinion from the Attorney General that shares our concern about it.
We got a question in the back. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Representative Flynn, under Youngblood, I write you quite a bit on the family courts system. And my goal is, I know that I'm a Christian, and divorce is something that happens, and we all wish it would, right? Why are men in Texas treated as second-class citizens or second-class parents when it comes to child custody? I just spent the last 2 years and about $200,000 fighting for custody for my children that I care very much for. I'm just wondering, in this system, it seems like the man has the cards stacked up against him, and I'm wondering what both of you guys are doing to change that.
You have an answer?
No one's brought that to me as an issue, so this is something brand new, and I'd be glad to talk with you about it. And if it is, that's fine. No one is.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the standard in Texas is like a first, third, and fifth. Guys get 4 to 5 days a month. I just got 50-50 at a big cost. I guess my question is, if I hadn't been blessed with the work in my career that I did, what about all the other guys in Texas? I represent, my girls go to here at Martin's Mill. I represent what's called, I'm in Texas for Parental Equality. It is just, we are just seem to be backwards. There's 20 states that have what's called shared parenting laws. There are 2 bills that my group's introducing. This legislation, James White's doing one, and Representative Pena out of Pasadena's doing the other. I want you guys to be aware. I would like to meet with you individually maybe after this and set up some meeting. I don't want to take all the time here. But really, fathers are being mistreated in this state just on the custody laws. It is an uphill battle. And I want you guys to realize that, and I would love to meet with both of you.
Come ahead. I mean, much to the chagrin of my staff, I don't say no to anything. And,
true story.
Yes, it is. But this is absolutely a new issue as far as I'm concerned, and I'll be glad
The
to.
in this state are broken.
Yes,
Okay.
and
Get-
that's
get
who I
with
was
us,
fighting with the
before the
American
night's
law.
over.
And
What's that?
that's who I was fighting with American law. They have
Yes, sir.
you know, there's nobody from Austin, Texas here, so I can just really bash them good. Any city that has the motto of "Let's keep Austin weird," and it's the best thing they do, you know you got problems. But let me tell you, that issue is right there with grandparents' rights too. You know, a lot of grandparents are getting caught into the same trap, and it is an issue that gets discussed. It is an issue that you know, I'm happy to visit with you.
I agree, but what I'm saying is, we're in a world where we want income equality, marriage equality, which we may not agree with, but how about parental equality? That's what I'm asking for. just for parental equality, because there's 20 other states that do shared parenting. Texas is way behind time.
All right, we'll
Okay.
get in touch with them. I'm sure they'll listen to. We're going to take just a couple more questions. I have a couple of items here. Yes, sir.
When are you going to address English as the official language?
English is the official language.
We filed a bill already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Filed a bill.
It's a bill that gets filed every session. It generally gets hung up either in the Senate or in the House. And it's in fact, the bill that I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It shouldn't even be controversial.
I could not agree with you more. Probably the biggest percentage of bills that we file shouldn't be controversial. It's kind of like the bathroom deal. How in the world could that be a presidential issue? But anyway, English, we file that bill also. And let me tell you, what happens is when I file that bill, every Hispanic in the world came and visited me. And they thought I was really discriminating against. I have 2 granddaughters that are Hispanic, and they speak Spanish. I lived in Mexico for a short time. That's not a discrimination. This is America. We should do things. What I tried to go the back door, and what I was trying to do was saying, if the state of Texas prints it, it needs to be in English. And that was the direction I went.
I understand your point. My point is, it only takes us one sentence. It doesn't have.
But it takes 76 votes in the House, and it takes 21 votes in the Senate to get things moved. And while everybody in this room would agree on that, and it's one of those issues, and I don't know, you look at the demographics of this state, we're not winning that vote right now. But here's the other thing: is this, and this was one of the issues that I used in my argument. Most people that speak Spanish cannot read it and they cannot write it. That's even in the Rio Grande Valley. And so it's an issue that we're going to continue to move on, and I couldn't agree with you more. Nothing is more irritating to me than to go to some fast food restaurant and not be able to understand the people.
Sound like a marketing issue.
Yeah.
Well, what we need to do is make sure you send letters to them to back them up.
And
give
I
them all
hate
the support
having
they're
to call
introducing.
bunch one for English.
Okay, Doc, let me just,
Yeah.
let me say something just so everybody understands. We can have the best intentions of the world to pass any bill, but there are wickets that they have to go through that we have absolutely no control over. And that's one of the items of the committee system, the way it's set up, both in the House and the Senate. If a committee chairman does not want to hear a bill, it doesn't get heard. There's no majority of the committee voting on to hear it or anything like that. It just does not get heard. And there are other wickets it goes through to get a bill to the floor. If the Lieutenant Governor doesn't want that bill to come to the floor, there is nothing that will happen to it. And I'm going to speak for the House, but my observation, you got the Calendars Committee that has a huge say in whether bills, where they go. So there are choke points that aren't all bad, because with 6,000 bills being filed every session, believe me, you don't want 6,000 new laws in this state. Passing 1,300 is absurd. So it's not all bad, but with that, you get good bills that get hung up like the bad bills. So
One more question, and then I've got a couple of.
I have a question for you. With the administration just whipping out their pen and having nothing better to do than do that and walk around the Constitution, I don't know how there's so many loopholes that he's allowed to do that. But if this country doesn't go the right direction in a few weeks, is Texas prepared to withdraw from the federal government, the federal state?
Well, I can tell you from going to the Republican convention, what everybody was telling me is if it goes the wrong way, Texas be prepared, because we're coming to Texas.
Well, they're already coming to Texas.
Well, they gonna keep coming in droves.
1,200 a day move to Texas. Now, what we've been doing with the Republican Party is we've been checking their voting records to see where they go. And so we can be able to have an understanding. Say again?
Are they going the right way?
Well, they're coming to Houston and Dallas, which
Oh,
they're
no.
already upside down.
Yeah,
But
most of those
anyway, yeah.
delegates
Yeah.
took Davy Crockett's words to
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah,
The
they
rest
did.
of you can go to hell, I'm going to Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we in that position where we could separate?
You know what? This gets into a philosophical question. Many of us that have served in the United States military,
I have.
okay, you raised your hand and you put your hand on the Bible probably.
Oh, yes, I did.
And what did you do? You promised, you swore that you were going to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We have some domestic enemies right now, and we need to get involved and not have people that sit home because, oh, that person's not perfect. Nobody was perfect but Jesus Christ, and they crucified him. So what I'm saying is we need to be involved, and that's what thrills me to death when I come here and I see this number of people out here that are really concerned about the issues. And I think that so often people get so disturbed because their issue doesn't happen. I'll give you a good example. Just 1 second. I'll give you a good example. The STAR test. Anybody ever heard of STAR test?
Yeah.
You know what? The most ridiculous thing that ever happened was the STAR test. Teachers didn't like it. Students didn't like it. Parents didn't like it. And you know what? I filed that bill 3 sessions back, and I tell you what, I passed it in the House. Passed it in the House. But there was a senator, Senator Florence Shapiro. She wouldn't even allow it to have a hearing in the Senate. But what happened is when the big budget came and we had to vote on it, it was late, 2 o'clock in the morning. I decided to go ahead and put an amendment on the budget because it was germane. 147 people in the Texas House agreed with me. It didn't pass on the budget because it got struck out again. But what it did do, it started the process. And now what happened in this session went from 15 to 5. It's a process. A lot of people get hung up. They don't like the process, but it is the greatest process in the world. We have done well. We're not perfect, and we're going to have to continue to work at it. That's why, that's why we meet 140 days every 2 years. And we don't want to meet anymore, or we could be just as inefficient as the United States Congress.
I have one more real quick one.